One of the more fascinating cut chapters in Half-Life 2's development history was the air exchange. After traveling through the wasteland, clearing out the depot, Gordon would have come across this behemoth of a facility in the middle of nowhere. A titan of a structure whose only goal was to make the air toxic and murky so that the advisors could breathe easily, but at the expense of humans requiring to wear a gas mask all the time. This definitely is a fan favorite piece of cut content from the game, but at the end, it was scrapped along with the depot chapter before it and the Arctic chapters after it. Though the depot is still in the retail game, it's just not as prominent in the story as it was before. With all that said, today we'll be taking a look at the Air Exchange Revision mod by Oni32. As the name states, this is sort of like a imagining or a reimagining of the Air Exchange chapter. While there are maps in the leak that you can play and go through the whole air exchange, they are mostly empty, void of any details or proper gameplay sections. So this mod tries to turn those maps into a proper Half-Life experience while adding in its own touches to it. Right off the bat, the starting area of the air exchange seems much more detailed in nature. Originally, you could only see the facility itself, but now there's new areas surrounding it. Falling ash effects, which I really like, and also some really good sound design. Similar to the mod I covered previously, the Vertigo mod, the main thing I was curious about was how does this mod manages to fix the big beta maps issue. What that means is that in the Half-Life 2 beta or the leak, you have so many maps which are too open, and because of their unfinished nature, they don't really tell you where to go or what to do. So I was curious to see how this mod tackles that issue. After a bit, I noticed something. Some of the new sections in this mod are taken from the retail Nova Prospect levels. I wouldn't say they're a one-to-one copy since the mod changes up the textures and such, it adds new props to it, but rather the layout of the room or the hall is what resembles Nova Prospect. I don't necessarily think this is a negative thing, as I saw many people online made it out to be, and given that in a way, Nova Prospect is like a spiritual successor to the Air Exchange, or it is the chapter that replaced Air Exchange, it makes sense for it to look like this. Though there was one part where I was a bit flabbergasted by the Nova Prospect copy pasting, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. Going back to the visuals, that is the strongest point of this mod. The sheer scale is expanded tenfolds, and it makes you feel like such a small thing in this gigantic place. The overwhelming nature of the visuals might be overstimulating to some people, but thankfully the mod does a great job at hand-holding the player most of the time. And no, there's no yellow paint in this, but rarely in big open spaces you'll see these bright blue lights that stand out. This is basically the mod telling you where to go. The work put into the 3D skybox is just excellent. There's so much stuff to look at in the distance, and it all adds up to make this whole place feel kinda creepy in a way. In the specific part, something I found odd was that the mod guides you through this whole section only for you to end up in the place you started from, but just on the other side. I mean, I could have jumped from there and landed here in the same spot the blue lights guided me through the long route. I don't know. But goddamn, have I told you how amazing this mod looks? Going inside, we come to this large warehouse area. From a mile away, I knew this was gonna be a combat encounter. And what do you know? I was right. I really liked the destructible pillars here. It really shows that Oni put a lot of effort into the little things like that. After the fight with the big bug, we head outside for a moment to breathe some dirty toxic air and head back in. Here we find antlions and... oh! It's that one part from Nova Prospect. Again, I do not mind this. I think it suits the overall design of what the Air Exchange should be like. What's commendable is Oni's ability to perfectly blend in these beta and retail maps together seamlessly. It's very reminiscent of what Coterminus did a few years ago. And even then, these Nova Prospect levels slowly change into original works and then blend into the outside Air Exchange maps. I really like this whole scene. How you can hear the gunfire in the distance and bullets flying over your head. What could have made this even more better would be the inclusion of the conscripts. They were a faction of human soldiers that were working under the Combine's rule, but then revolted when the air exchange was under assault by Gordon. Them being here helping Gordon and betraying the Combine would have gone hard as hell. Oh, you also find some stalkers around here, but thankfully they're not running around like maniacs shooting lasers like they did in the beta. Then we end up in this place, which again is an iconic map from the Air Exchange leaked maps. The combat encounters in a lot of these sections is done well, like it really does test your skills as a player with its balls to the walls gunfights with the Combine. By the way, did I tell you how goddamn beautiful this mod looks? I've always loved this dark orange setting sunlight that casts all over the map. Here I noticed a vent in the wall and I thought I'd take a look what's inside, and what do you know? It's a radiation hazard Easter egg. Not gonna lie, from my perspective, this is awesome, but also quite humbling too. I really appreciate Oni putting this in his mod. Thanks, Oni. The majority of the next section is also taken from Nova Prospect. While it plays like you expect it would, I got the feeling that at this point it was getting repetitive to see familiar places like this. Like, don't get me wrong, it is perfectly blended in and totally looks fine, but that feeling of similarity was starting to get to me. And it doesn't help that after this section, it continues to bring on the Nova Prospect levels. I did enjoy going through these places under the new guise of the Air Exchange theme, but still, it felt repetitive. It's like, oh wow, this is from Nova Prospect, this is neat, but also, would have been cool to see some more original sections too, which this mod has, but still, there's more Nova Prospect stuff. After this, we get to another big warehouse where we first get ambushed by the Combine and then another antline guard shows up. This was pretty neat. Like before, the destructible pillars was a nice touch. After this, I wasn't expecting this mod to do what it did. So we go down into this new building and open this door to see this. It's like that one part from Half-Life 1 where you have to dodge the laser trip mines to go down the elevator, but here, you also have to make sure none of the head crabs touch the lasers either. It was nice seeing this section, to be honest. It gave the mod some variety and the parkour wasn't that hard at all. Slightly off topic, but I streamed this mod and New Times back to back a few weeks ago. It was hilariously funny to me that both of these mods have the same type of trip mine sections in them. Albeit in New Times, it was a slightly different setup. We'll talk about that when I make a video for it soon. Anyway, avoiding the lasers, we get on the elevator and head down to the next part of the air exchange. So now we have to get to that control tower. If you've seen the concept art and the beta maps, you know this is a major part of the whole air exchange chapter. Also, it's a minor thing, but I like how every time you jump on one of these tanker vehicles, it shakes heavily. Kinda makes it feel like Gordon, or rather the HEV suit he's wearing, is very heavy. We take the elevator up to the control panel and clear it out. In the original, this room wasn't as detailed, and here it feels like a proper map. A place from where the Combine operate this place, or at least some part of it. Now, I'm not sure what this button did, but when we press it, a gunship fires into the tower, making a giant hole in the wall from where we have to jump off as if we're in Assassin's Creed. This was cool as hell. At this point, I was curious to see what happens next, cause in the beta, this whole section is just one giant area that you could just roam around aimlessly. But here, there are tunnels that lead us to that one part from Nova Prospect. But hey, to the mod's defense, the visual overhaul of the section makes it feel unique, and the only gripe I have about it is that the final fight with the two gunships is extremely irritating. Like, fighting the Combine before them is totally fine and super fun, but this part here was where I genuinely started tweaking out. It never took me this long to take down these gunships in the Nova Prospect version, or the retail version. It may be that the buildings surrounding us are too tall and the gunships are easily able to hide from us. I think that might be why it was difficult to hit them, but my god, this was very difficult for me. From here starts the last third of the mod. Now our goal is to get into the reactor core of the facility and straight up blow it up. Going into the first interior, there's supposed to be a firefight here, but I just cheesed it by heading straight to the elevator and going up, pretty much skipping the whole firefight. Then we come to this cool looking control area which, once again, has great gunplay. Also, did I tell you how great this mod looks? My god, it's beautiful. From here we go into this disposal area and Kobe ourselves into the lower sections. In this part, I again thunk about the same thing as before. How will the mod handle guiding the player where to go? Because in the original, like before, it was just open areas with absolutely no signs of where to go and what to do. And like before, this mod actually patches things up and creates this smooth flowing route for the player to go through. Though this air jumping part was a little confusing to understand, it was still nice. The reactor area of the air exchange is, I think, a great epitome of what the beta was like, or supposed to be like. Even though these industrial themes are still prevalent in retail Half-Life 2, in the beta they felt a lot more concentrated. Like the color palette of the textures used here, the lighting, the overall mood of it all was just outstanding. It was, you can say, dark and gritty. And while the beta maps are obviously unfinished drafts, this mod does a fantastic job of bringing together the whole idea into one single package. I mean, apart from the Mega Build or the earlier Air Exchange mod made for the beta LeakNet engine, I think this might be now the definitive way to play through these maps. Sure, it does the whole Nova Prospect thing to spice things up, it retains the essence of those old unfinished maps and blends it all together to form a great experience. Hell, in some cases, it even improves it. Like originally, there was this strange parkour area where you had to dodge the electricity while climbing up and then climbing down, but here, it's just energy balls and you just have to jump down. It's been simplified. Or here in this tunnel where lasers shot at you, but here you have energy balls again, and I think those are much fun to dodge as you run through the tunnel. As we get closer to the reactor core, the surroundings start to look much more menacing. And this might be the most random thing to say, but I think this is the best beta looking dark and gritty structure I've seen in a while. Anyway, we finally get to the entrance of the reactor core. Now I want to show you first what the reactor core was like in the unfinished map in the beta. And now, here's what it looks like in the mod. It is a night and day difference between the two, and my god does this look so good. So the whole thing here is to first press these 3 buttons. This will open up the core and shields will pop out. Then soldiers will attack you, so you have to defend yourself while you shoot at the shields, and then the core with the AR2's alt attack. Do that enough times, and then... and that is the Air Exchange Revision mod. Overall, I think this is an excellent mod, regardless if you're an old fan or someone who's just learning about the whole thing. This AirX Revision mod is sure to give you a good time. The way it overhauls the visuals of the original maps make the place feel more realistic and equally creepy given the nature of the facility. Sure, the Nova Prospect sections might fall into the gray zone for some people, but I feel like it was an excellent way to blend the old and the new together. Definitely check this one out, links are gonna be in the description. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to these benefactors for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next one.